Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Well, while the rate rise pause is being welcomed, many Tasmanians are still feeling the pinch heading into Christmas. A new survey revealing households are slashing spending and looking for extra sources of income to cope with the rising cost of living.
For Marigot Perry, life is busy. She works and studies part-time, while her husband has a full-time job, a situation which has worked for them. However, rising inflation and interest rates are biting.
It does very much limit what you can do, and especially with like the cost of petrol going up, you can't just choose to go away. And
from picking up extra work to cutting back on food, entertainment and shopping, they've navigated stormy times. But she's worried about the waves getting bigger.
If it kept going up and up and up over the next 6 months, that it would be a really massive struggle for us.
The Perry family isn't alone. A My State Bank survey shows nearly 80% have cut spending to meet soaring costs, while over half say their savings have dropped. Renters feeling it the most.
In particular, we're seeing that with renters, where 40% don't have a savings buffer.
Just goes to show how difficult it is for renters and how little protection they have and how hard it is for them to create savings.
The results also showing more than a third of Tasmanians don't budget, with Gen Z the worst offenders. To combat the crunch, 19% are looking to pick up extra work. The survey also revealing many have a New Year's resolution to build savings and negotiate their bills, measures the banks say are vital in both bad and good times.
A lot of the actions set up good practices and creates a financial health for a lot of Tasmanians.
Marigot and thousands of Tasmanians set to watch on with interest next year.
I think across the board everybody's feeling the pinch. Everybody is feeling it in different ways.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmanian News.
In breaking news, the Tasmanian Parliament will be recalled next Tuesday to establish an inquiry into a Supreme Court judge. Attorney General Guy Barnett making the announcement late this afternoon. The proposed Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry would report on whether Justice Gregory Geeson should be removed from office. Removing a sitting judge requires a vote of both Houses of Parliament. Justice Geeson has been charged with 1 count of common assault and 1 count of emotional abuse, to which he has pleaded not guilty. The government is yet to terminate any employees as a result of the report into child sexual abuse. Its response to the Commission of Inquiry scrutinised today by a parliamentary committee.
Hoping to spruik the government's plans to ensure the safety of children into the future, the Premier was still answering questions about the past.
The government's response and in developing the implementation plan which is to come, you can't give an assurance that no one who had received a Section 18 notice has been involved in that process or will be involved in that process in the coming months and years.
The 21 people who avoided misconduct findings, still a hot topic during Committee of Inquiry scrutiny hearings.
I can't wrap my head around the lack of interest and urgency from your government to get to the bottom of who these 21 people are.
Well, I reject that. I reject that. Every matter of concern in relation to the current or former Tasmanian State Service employee, to a current or former Tasmanian State Service employee is being assessed.
But revealing that no one's had their employment terminated since the report was handed down, and that anyone stood down is on full pay. The Health Secretary has completed her review of 20 employees mentioned in the report.
I have scoured the report. We have cast a very broad lens against any individual named in the report.
The Sexual Assault Support Service and Laurel House are being given $1 million to deal with increased demand, while expressions of interest for a victim survivor advisory group are open.
A group which will be so pivotal in shaping our child sexual abuse reform strategy.
A strategy under the spotlight for one more day. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Director of Racing has told an upper house inquiry he believes it's WorkSafe's role to manage whether participants have workers' compensation cover despite it being a licensing requirement. Shadow Racing spokesperson Dean Winter has slammed revelations the state's biggest harness trainer, Ben Yole, was allowed to operate without the cover for nearly 300 days. State Government Minister Guy Barnett has continued to dismiss concerns about his involvement in a grant offered to a distillery with family links to one of his advisors. In June, he said he had no involvement in the decision to offer $1.2 million for the distillery's Willow Court redevelopment this year. Emails show the minister requested positive consideration of an earlier grant application for the same project in December 2021 before Justin Dirksen began working for him.
Minister Barnett had every opportunity to be extremely clear with the committee, and he was asked repeatedly, over and over and over, what his role was, and he said he didn't have any role.
Guy Barnett said in a statement his representation was appropriate and he answered the question by Mr Winter. Of 100 new TAFE teachers promised at the last state election, so far 40 have been hired. A parliamentary inquiry into TAZTa has heard. The training minister was unable to say whether it would be subject to funding cuts forecast in the most recent budget.
The Treasurer will be working through that process, but of course we look broadly across government for areas of savings, and it's important to note as well that we're talking about taxpayers' money.
A recent staff survey showed 59% of TAZTa employees are overall satisfied, up slightly from 58% on the year prior. Big businesses who take advantage of small traders were put under the spotlight in an effort to stop late payments without consequences. It's the result of a recent review, which the federal government hopes will mean better outcomes for the smaller end of town.
Tunnel Hill Mushrooms supplies products to big restaurants across Hobart. Its owner says the thousands of dollars in late payments from some are stopping his business from blooming.
I'm relying on that money to come in from week to week. So I can move the business and purchase equipment, and if it's not paid on time, well then it puts me under pressure.
Findings have been handed down from an independent review investigating the impacts of big businesses paying smaller ones late. The federal government committing $8 million to hold them to account.
We are taking up the recommendations. They are essentially across 4 themes. They are naming, shaming and praising big businesses that do the right thing.
It also found there was much room for improvement, with the outdated Payment Times Reporting Act to be overhauled. There's now a focus on making it easier for the big guys to report payments properly and address inefficiencies.
We'll make it easier for large businesses to comply with the requirements. So that's good, but it'll be harder for them to get away with bad behaviour.
It's hoped more reliable payment times will allow small Tasmanian businesses to reap higher profits, increase staff wages and boost employment at the same time. Music to the ears of our local traders who often can't afford to chase their earnings.
So I'm not going to go out of my way to chase the payment, but I think it's only fair that we sort of get paid on time. We do provide a service.
Changes to the Reporting Act are expected sometime next year. Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmanian News.
As summer approaches, a beach safety program will share important updates about where to swim in the River Derwent. It features an interactive map which tells beachgoers where possible bacteria outbreaks could be and categorises popular swimming spots along the river into poor, fair or good water quality.
Of the 19 swimming sites that we monitor throughout the estuary and the lower parts of the estuary, 18 of them are suitable for swimming. So I think it's a pretty enviable position for a capital city.
It's really important that we have good water quality. I think the Hobart community expects good water quality.
Beachgoers are also warned to avoid swimming after heavy rain. The Beach Watch site has all the relevant information. The Tasmanian wine sector is a toast of the country, with jobs growth bucking a national downward trend. The industry is fast approaching the economy's top shelf, on track to be the biggest contributor by 2040.
Tasmania proving to be a step above the rest.
What we grow is unique in its own way, with the cool climate grapes.
The latest Wine Tasmania report is in, and industry heavyweights are raising a glass. The state's grape-growing workforce is going gangbusters, bucking a national downward slide, instead up by 74% in the past decade.
performing so strongly across its value, across its reputation, across wine tourism and attracting visitors.
In a swirling success, the number of females taking up a career among the vines has bloomed.
Growth of over 100%, 115%.
The proof is in the grapes, with the lure of Tasmania's unique and picturesque vineyards the toast of the town.
We've got wines that people want. The one-on-one experience is really good, and they can taste what they're buying.
There's soon to be more reasons for wine lovers to celebrate. The sector is projected to boom, injecting $2 billion into the state's economy by 2040.
Which is huge, obviously, in terms of the potential it offers.
While it's all sunshine in the vines today, the industry recognises there is some hard work ahead to ensure they stay sipping on top.
Now the work starts. Now we need to make sure that we actually influence and consider and plan that growth.
We want to keep our niche market, and to keep our niche market we need the boutique vineyards to stay alive and going.
But until then, it's cheers to that. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, free skate lessons are on offer at 2 community events in Launceston. Ravenswood Skate Park hosts a Skate of Mind on Friday afternoon with a barbecue and appearances from professional skateboarders, followed by a skate and scooter jam at Royal Park on Saturday.
There might be a few youth in Launceston that have maybe thought about skating but don't have the skill set or maybe not the equipment. We've got a few free giveaways as well on the day.
It's all about getting younger residents out and involved in the city.
Tasmania is into the finals of the Under-19 Cricket National Championships, despite a narrow loss to Queensland in the final pool match. It's one of Tassie's better performances of the competition in recent years. They play South Australia in the first final tomorrow, with Under-19 World Cup selectors watching on.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good game, really tight contest. Being from Tassie, we're not really expected to do so well at these competitions, but, you know, the boys have done really well and we've given it a real red-hot crack, so it'd mean a lot to us as a group to make it a lot further.
So far this series, Zach scored a ton and a 50. Queenstown will host the first of 9 community events as part of the new AFL team's Community Roadshow. It's an opportunity to hear firsthand how things are progressing, but the board also wants to hear from fans.
These are events that are a great opportunity for community members to come along and have a conversation around their goals and aspirations for the football club and what they see as their connection.
To register for a session, visit believetasmania.com.au.
Good evening, Hobart 22 today, Launceston and Burnie registered 24 and Devonport 21. St Helens and Fingal our top, warming right up to 28 degrees as maximum temperatures rose to 6 degrees above average in some parts. Bushy Park 27, Cressy and Campania 25, Flinders Island and Wynyard 24, Franklin Beaches and Grove 23, Lyawini 21 and Strawn 19. Dry and warm with areas of low cloud across the west. Bands of high cloud traversed the state as well. Mid to high level cloud is over southwest WA, middle level cover over coastal South Australia into western Victoria. Tomorrow, a trio of troughs sit over the mainland attached to lows as a ridge of high pressure pushes our way. West to southwest winds to 35 knots over the south, tending more western or westerly in the afternoon, swells at 3.5 metres. Strong winds, we do have a gale warning for that little area of waters between Tasman Island and South East Cape. Also a strong wind warning for remaining waters between Wineglass Bay and Low Rocky Point, and from Stanley to St Helens Point and inland over the Central Plateau Lakes. Hobart, top of 21 tomorrow and partly cloudy, 21 also for Geeveston and Bothwell. Launceston, a high tomorrow of 25 degrees, a sunny day, okay for Devonport as well, 22 the top and 25 for Cressy. Burnie expecting 20 and mostly sunny, bit of cloud over Strawn, 18 the top, 18 also the high for Curry tomorrow. St Helens sunny and 22, along with Orford, Swansea 23 degrees. On Thursday, a fine mostly sunny day apart from a light shower over the west. Fine on Friday until showers develop in the afternoon and evening, and wet weather for most on Saturday before contracting to the north and east later. Sunny and 30 in Perth, a degree warmer in Adelaide, 22 as the cloud clears from Melbourne, fine and sunny over Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane, and you won't need a stove to cook an egg in Alice Springs. 18 right now in Hobart, sunny in Launceston, 21, 21 also in Devonport. Won't see me for a couple of days, Kim. I've been told I'm on a management course.
Anger management doesn't count, Merv. And that does wrap up your news for this evening. Thanks for joining us. Good night.